This is a football story for the ages. A story of courage, perseverance, and yes, luck. A story about a group of ragtag buddies who dared to challenge the most powerful family of athletes in the history of Askov, Minnesota. A story about Cox and Caldas and Yates, and Bethke and Engebretson, and yes, the Degerstroms. It was the greatest game never told, until now.
You know, I played in that league for a lot of years, and that was without a doubt the greatest game I ever played.
Everybody has maybe one or possibly two things they look back on in their life, and they're grateful they were a part of it. This would have to be one of those things for me.
You know, here was a group of guys, you know, kind of a ragtag bunch going up against what is arguably the greatest family of athletes in northern Minnesota history.
I've known the Degerstroms probably longer than Engie, longer than anyone. When I was a kid, we played at Van Cleve together, and to beat them on that day, oh God, it was beautiful.
Aren't you the guy that beat the Degerstroms? That's what I hear more often than not. Aren't you the guy who finally beat the Degerstroms? I say, you got it, buddy.
The Degerstroms. They were farmers, hunters, fishermen, computer programmers, computer builders, sailors, and of course, athletes. Most were runners. Adrian finished third in the Minnesota High School State cross-country meet in 1973. Jim and Don became marathon runners, but basketball was their passion.
I met Jim in 1975. We had astronomy class together. And we had lab together, and I guess it was kind of interesting. I look back now and I kind of chuckle. Between us sat this guy who knew Ron Koulis, who, as we all know, was a great receiver in Minnesota Gopher history. And me being the great receiver that I am, I just kind of found it odd that that's how I met Jim.
So the Degerstroms, to me, were this mythical, legendary group of people.
These guys could run like the wind.
Well, you think Jim's a good basketball player. Wait till you see Don, he'll rip your arms off. The guy's a brute.
They have an air of invincibility about them. These guys just won't give up. I think it's their northern Minnesota roots.
Nearly every single Northeast Invitational Tournament championship team included a Degerstrom. They dominated the NBA, the Neighborhood Basketball Association, for 20 years. But football wasn't their game.
My recollection of the challenge is we were at a year-end party for the basketball league at Caldas' house, the Lilac Invitational.
Finally, we got so mad that we just challenged them. We said, okay, let's bring it on the field.
And I think somebody threw down the gauntlet.
Somebody finally figured out that if you took them off the basketball court, you know, put them on a softball field maybe, or a football field, maybe the field would kind of level a bit.
We talked about bowling, talked about softball. I was kind of for Monopoly.
We didn't know if we could win.
Team Metro were decent athletes. Caldas learned the ropes at Highland Park Elementary School. Bethke was the sixth man on St. Austin's elementary school basketball team. Yates was a four-sport star at Marshall U High School. Cox was a high-scoring guard in the Air Force Intramural League. And Engebretson led his 10th grade gym class in touchdowns. Each of the Metro stars managed to win an NIT tournament, but only when teamed with a Degerstrom. Despite their somewhat impressive athletic skills and the Degerstroms' lack of football experience, oddsmakers made Team Metro a 2-touchdown underdog. And that was before Engebretson got hurt, less than a week before the big game, during a basketball game with the Degerstroms.
Mike was going on a fast break. Jim throws his all-court pass to Mike just over my fingertip.
I wasn't there the night that Mark was originally injured. I missed basketball that night. I knew we had the big challenge match coming up.
And I went for it, though, and didn't catch it.
I was kind of upset that all the guys were playing basketball.
And I turned my ankle. Oh, that hurt. And as I was falling, I stuck my hand out to break the fall, and I jammed that wrist. I found out later it was broken.
I got a call that night late. I was really upset. I didn't know which Degerstrom had done it.
This was it. We were going to face him. We're going to beat him. We were all ready. We had our plan. It was all in place, and then Ingy gets injured.
I had guaranteed a win for us, and here I was, a severely sprained ankle and a broken wrist, 5 days away from the game.
On game day, a decision was made to start the grizzled veteran Cox at quarterback in place of the injured Engebretson. During the first half, Team Degerstrom and Team Metro battled up and down the field. With seconds remaining and the score tied 14-14, Cox found his favorite receiver, Big Mike, who beat Mike Degerstrom for a touchdown. The play was not absent controversy.
You know, early on, I think in our first two series, a couple of times on third down, I had seen that Mike could beat that linebacker, Mike Degerstrom.
There was no trap there. If you look carefully, you'll see I had a hand under the ball.
I just threw the ball. He did a great job catching it. He might have trapped it.
The first half ended with Team Metro ahead 21-14, but the question remained, would Engebretson play quarterback in the second half? Cox, the grizzled veteran, exhibited flashes of his previous brilliance, but also the rust of old age.